Welcome to Tuesday night in the Spotlight Series. I'm your host, Scott Nerney. We're at the Queesit Inn. Don't forget to subscribe. You want to get all the updates for our YouTube channel and our interviews, especially when it comes to local rock and roll legends. LastSelf band. How are you guys?
Hey, how are you? How's it going?
We can use legends, right?
Sure.
Okay,
yeah. Why not?
In our own minds, it's fine for now. Okay. Why don't we go around and introduce yourselves? Tell us what you play, a little background of yourselves.
All right. I'm Dan. I play the drums. I'm from Connecticut, but I've been here in Rhode Island for about 16 years.
Nice.
I'm Piera, and I play synthesizer, and I sing in harmony with Mike. I do like lead harmony thing, and I live in Rhode Island, and I grew up in New York.
Okay.
Cool. I'm Mike. I kind of started the band. I play guitar and sing. I also write the songs, and I'm originally from Massachusetts, and like Dan, I've lived in Rhode Island for about 16 years.
Nice.
I'm Gary. I play bass in the band. I was born at Women and Infants Hospital. I've lived in Rhode Island basically my whole life, born and raised, and I live in Providence currently.
Nice. So how did this band come together?
Yeah, so the band started maybe a year and a half ago. Does that sound about right, guys? It started when I was just writing some songs for a new project. I wanted to do a new kind of indie rock band. Started writing a few songs, getting some material together. I called up my friend Gary, who I'd played in previous bands with. He was down to start a band. The drummer that I knew wasn't actually available, so Gary said, hey, I know this guy Dan. He's a really good drummer. So we met up with Dan. We started rehearsing a little bit. And I thought the sound of the three of us worked out great, so we started developing some songs, kind of developing the band sound. And we wanted to add a little bit more layering beyond what we had for the original sketches of the song. So brought in my wife, Piera, who is a great singer and keyboard player, to kind of just add some more layers of vocals and keyboard to our sound. And that's kind of how it started. And since then, we've just been developing original indie rock songs and playing shows in the Providence area.
So you got a chick in the band.
That's right. Yeah, one that I know decently well.
So let's. I kind of like to go around the style. Give us a little. We'll start over here with a couple of artists you kind of look towards as you're playing, and what kind of inspires you. It doesn't necessarily have to be this style of indie rock that you're doing, but
Yeah. I don't really attach to any like lead bassist kind of stuff. I'm not really into that stuff. So I go for mostly rock stuff. I'm into Bowie a lot. I'm into Pink Floyd. I'm the greats, I guess. And then try to add like a dancey-esque bouncy bass kind of sound to everything.
okay.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like Gary and all the other members of the bands, like I listen to a lot of different kind of music outside of indie rock, but I really kind of wanted that straight ahead alternative rock, indie rock style for this, like ranging from like newer bands like Dive and Pale Blue Eyes, another one, and to like even like classic alternative bands like the Smiths and other stuff from the 80s and 90s too. So kind of developed a kind of echoey, reverby guitar sound and wrote some songs around that, trying to draw inspiration from like alternative rock bands like through the decades.
Okay. Yeah.
So I love listening to all indie rock. My favorite music is probably from Tame Impala, Beach House, and I feel like I try to aspire to sound like the synthesizer sounds they make. And I feel like I have put our music on playlists with other indie rock bands, and it always like fits. So I think we have a good thing going.
I started out as like a metal drummer. That was like my background, metal, hardcore, math rock, that kind of thing. And I always pulled inspiration from bands like the Deftones. But I also, like everybody else in the band, have like a really wide style of music that I listen to in general. The Smiths, love the Smiths, that kind of thing. So I wouldn't say that in this band I necessarily pull from any of the bands that I listened to in my youth. But just kind of like trying to have driving drums and playing heavy, and just having a little bit of presence behind what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you guys have all used the word indie rock, but kind of describe your musical style for someone who's sitting out there thinking, hey, maybe I want to go see those guys. And we're going to talk a little bit about your local events, but how would you really describe what they would hear?
Yeah. So I would say like picture a kind of straight ahead rock sound, but with a lot of layers and without too much busyness going on, like not really like solos with tons of notes or lots of drum fills and busyness. There's a lot of space for things, but there's also lots of layers. And we have a lot of focus on the vocals and the melodies. There's kind of a dual vocal harmony thing going on pretty much all of our songs. And we kind of craft the songs around that. So, I mean, you think of, even going way back, bands like, Everly Brothers or even Alice in Chains in the 90s that have these two lead vocalists singing at the same time. That's kind of the sound we go for. So I would say it's sort of a modern rock sound with a lot of layering and two vocals on everything.
And dreamy. People always tell us we're very dreamy when we played out.
Nice. I think we have a clip from you guys at Revival. Let's take a look. I see a lot of, like, there's times where there's just music and then the vocals come right in. You're right, there is space, but it's not filled with, I didn't know what to do, so I threw some stuff in there. It's nice, very well. So tell us a little bit before we go into the vocal scene. You guys have some gigs coming up. Where are you playing or typically play?
Great. Yeah, Piera's sort of the band manager, so you can tell us about our upcoming gigs.
Another hat.
Yeah.
She's very important.
Yeah, thank you. So we are playing on January 12th at Lost Valley Pizza, which is also known as Revival Brewing Company. We're playing February 24th at In Your Ear, which is a new music venue. They've like opened up a new space in Warren. And then on March 16th, at Myrtle, which is also a newer East Providence music venue, and hopefully the bridge will be fixed by then. It's 3 months away, so that's what they're saying.
Or it's a captive audience to have to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
No choice.
So
Well, that's awesome. So what's the local music scene like? I mean, get away from, the local big, huge bands that come into town and they're out the next day on their private jet. You guys are working hard. You've got day jobs. You're working to try to get your music out there, get people to listen to you. You're sometimes playing with 2, 3, 4 other bands. How's that work out?
Yeah, I feel like the Providence music scene is generally really good for musicians like us who play sort of indie rock, DIY band, do that kind of thing. There's a lot of support for us. The scene is small. I wouldn't say there's a million bands in it. There's not a ton of bands. There's not as many as, obviously bigger cities or even a city like Boston. But it's pretty tight-knit. A lot, like a lot of the other bands in the scene, and even if, just playing a few shows around over the past year and networking with the other bands, you learn what a lot of the other bands are, who's in them, and everyone's really supportive. And I feel like people, if you put stuff out there, the other bands in the scene will listen to it. They'll give you feedback on it. They'll help you promote it a little bit. And there's also a lot of good venues to play at around town that are supportive for local artists and local DIY bands like us, including like a lot of places around Providence. There's AS220, which is always super supportive for local bands, but also venues like the Parlor, Askew, Dusk, News Cafe in Pawtucket that are just great about supporting and booking local bands.
it's
So
original music.
yeah, I feel like for us doing original indie rock music, there's a lot of support. Yeah, it's a nice little niche in Providence.
I
Do you
think
find,
also, like, Rhode Island and Providence, even though it's like a small city, I feel like it's like densely populated for original music. We might not have as many musicians, as many venues as bigger cities, but I'd say we have a lot per capita. And I think that, too, like the pandemic put a stop to a lot of projects that were happening in Rhode Island, everywhere, obviously. So there's a lot of freshness to the scene too. I'm seeing bands that we're playing with that I've never heard of before, and it's kind of a brand new scene, like very eclectic, and people actually doing like the music they want to make. Spend time and thought about what kind of music I want to make, like Mike did, and then putting these projects together and actually happening. So.
and you're in the back with the monitors kind of facing you, and these guys are in front of you. Do you find a different sound of the band in different places you play with the acoustics?
Oh, absolutely. And, being the drummer, being in the back, you're always tucked in next to typically a brick wall. So it's pretty hard to hear what's going on. But, I just wanted to touch back on what Gary was talking about. There's a tremendous amount of talent in Providence. There's so many musicians who have been in so many bands. I know every time we play, I meet somebody that I have a history with. Through the years of playing music around the area. So definitely a lot of people. And then speaking to the venues, definitely it can be a little dicey sometimes with sound setups and stuff like that. But, we always make it work, no matter what. So.
Well, I was at a couple weekends ago. I was down in Newport just for the day to take they had a nice festival going on. And we're sitting in a pub, a typical Newport pub. And there was a stage just to the left of us. And I thought, wow, it's a good thing there's no band playing, because I would just be getting blown away. The next thing you know, there's like 20 brass band carolers that come in, and they just march in the door. And I'm like, the first one had this big, huge tube. I'm like, oh, this guy must be coming in for a beer just after his set. and then like in comes a clarinet and a wind, and they all like right up next to me, and they started playing about 25, 30 seconds of 3 or 4 Christmas songs. I'm like, wow, that was really cool. I'm so glad that wasn't a full band. But yeah, when you say Providence, it's the whole general area. I mean, you guys are playing outside of Providence,
Yeah.
but Rhode Island's big for the arts, and that's whether it's painting or music, or there's so much here.
Yeah. And I feel like what Gary was saying, around 2021, 22, like after the pandemic, a lot of new projects got started. So there's a lot of new music, and I feel like there's a big focus on recording versus playing live a little bit more than there used to be. I feel like bands are just more interested in kind of doing recorded music since there was a stop to a lot of live music playing for a while. And now with Spotify, Apple Music, other streaming services, it's easier to get distribution for your recordings. It's really easy to just release a song and get it distributed to everyone's phones and computers and stuff like that. And I've noticed a lot of bands really putting more effort into recordings as well.
So let's speak about that. You guys have an album out, fresh off the press. Did I see it's also in vinyl too?
No, CD.
Yes.
CD.
Yes, compact disc.
CDs are back in.
Yes. And tell us a little bit about the album.
Yeah, so we released our first recording, a 3-song EP, self-titled, so it's called LastSelf. And, we basically picked 3 of our favorite songs that we had been rehearsing over the past year and playing live. Past Lives, See You Again, and 1 and 2. Those are the names of the 3 songs, and we put those on the record. We really kind of worked for a while to distill those songs down into their best version, tried to really refine everything, add the layering we wanted, and not include any extra parts that were unnecessary in the songs. And then we went to a studio called Big Nice Studios in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and we recorded the whole album in one day. And then we spent a few more days with the engineer and producer just mixing it, getting everything mastered and completed. And then we were ready for distribution this fall. So yeah, it was a really fun process. The team over at Big Nice Studio was awesome, just in terms of professionalism, but also in terms of being able to work really, really quickly with us and get something produced quickly. And we're really happy with the way it came out.
And how cool is it, guys, to have someone buy a CD at your show and ask you to sign it? Is that the best?
Well,
The first time it's been
nobody's
there?
asked us to sign
I
it yet.
refuse to sign.
All right, so if you're out there and you see this band, and she told you where they're coming, you take that CD and you demand they sign it.
I won't do it.
You won't do it? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan might not sign it, but you'll get 3 signatures from.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
You see,
Peer
strange
pressure.
signatures since those issues.
My signature is rare.
Hey guys, how can people follow you and get more information?
LastSelf.com. And we are on Instagram as LastSelf Band. You can book us there too. There's a link to book us there. Our email is booking@lastself.com.
You're on
And
Facebook?
on Facebook, follow us everywhere you see us.
Yeah, we're on Apple Music.
Apple Music,
we're on
Spotify,
Bandcamp.
YouTube.
Music.
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
Just look. It's one word.
It's everywhere.
LastSelf.
It's one word,
Yeah.
But if you
LastSelf.
put both together, you'll probably find it anyway.
I
You
think
could
will.
find it.
Yeah.
You'll find it.
You'll find
Just
it.
try to find it. You'll find it.
Do a reverse image search. Of
Yeah.
band, you'll find it.
You'll find it.
Dan's signature.
I'll be there.
How did I have to ask, how did the name come to be?
So we thought about a couple different band names. The most important thing was that LastSelf.com was not taken.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
because that was available, that seemed like a good band name.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Definitely shows that you weren't 13-year-olds trying to make a band.
yeah.
At heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. When I was writing lyrics for these songs, I've been reading a lot of science fiction and stuff like that, and there was a lot of themes of time travel and reincarnation and different versions of yourself. So I was thinking kind of about a previous version of yourself, your previous self, your last self, and that domain name was available. So I went from there.
It's kind of like a cat's ninth life, huh?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's the last self he's going to have.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
he was reading during the pandemic the Dune books.
Dune,
and
yeah.
That was
few
a
other
big
ones.
inspiration
Yeah,
on all these
Hyperion,
songs.
that was another book. But yeah.
So
it's
what
good
were the
stuff.
other horrible names you thought of?
That was, oh man, I don't even know. I think I thought of a couple, and that one just stuck. It wasn't taken.
Yeah, I don't
That
remember what
series
it
of
was.
words, they're just short 4-letter words, but 2 of them
Yeah.
together, it was not coming up anywhere else on Google. So yeah, I just once I got that, I just ran with it.
All right. Guys, wish you a lot of luck. Congratulations on the new EP. We're thrilled to see you guys get out there, share the stage with some of the other great artists of the state, and really bring the indie music scene back as we recover from the pandemic and people get to know you guys more and more. And I'm hoping you've got some followers now that will go from show to show and kind of book their schedule around you. Again, LastSelf.com.
That's right.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check these guys out. Fantastic music. You want to see this band.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.